All right, so now we're going to get into specifics about the admissions process. One thing that I do want to mention before we kind of go into admission specific is, with the exception of our online only programs, the Rosen College does not have a separate application. All of our programs are essentially open access. And what that means is, if you apply to UCF and you indicate one of our 5 majors, once you're admitted to UCF, you are essentially admitted to the Rosen College. There is no separate application required, unless, of course, you're in one of those online only programs that are restricted access. All right, but with applying to UCF, regardless of your academic category, we advise that students apply early. So for our incoming freshmen, that looks like about September to November of your senior year. And for our transfer students, about 6 to 9 months prior to the term that you wish to enroll for. And there are some advantages to applying early. Here at UCF, we are on what's called a rolling admissions basis. And what that means is there's not one set date or deadline where we roll out admissions decisions all at once. We make decisions periodically throughout the entire application cycle. So essentially, applying early ensures that you can receive a decision early. And then scholarship opportunities. For all our freshman applicants, you are automatically considered for any merit-based scholarships from our office. And we do have a few scholarship opportunities for transfer students as well. But essentially, the earlier you apply, the sooner you can kind of secure those scholarships. All right, and then last but not least is housing options. There are about 12,000 beds total on the UCF campuses. So essentially, the earlier you apply to UCF, the sooner you can go ahead and secure your housing. And now, of course, our application deadlines are listed on the screen, and these are our hard set deadlines. But again, you want to be applying well in advance of these dates. All right, so how to apply. So first and foremost, of course, you must complete the application form. For our freshmen, we'll accept either the UCF institutional application on our website or the Common App. We don't have a preference on which one you submit. We just ask that you don't submit both. And then for our transfer students, it would be the UCF institutional application on our website. Now, you do have the option to go ahead and pay the $30 application fee online. You're also welcome to mail in a check or a money order. If you do qualify for any SAT, ACT, NACAC, free and reduced lunch fee waivers, we'll accept those as well. And then for our freshman applicants, you're going to want to go ahead and complete what's called the SPARK, or the self-provided academic report for nights. This is where students are going to go ahead and self-report their grades and enter in all that information, and your academic core GPA is going to be calculated based on that information that you enter in. Now, what that means is your GPA is recalculated based on your academic core classes. So this is your 4 math, 4 English, 3 science, 3 social studies, and 2 use of a foreign language, those academic units. That is all we look at when we're recalculating your GPA. So we won't take into account any electives like a drama or music class, unless, of course, they're an academic elective. So essentially, the GPA that you may see on your transcripts might be a little bit different from the GPA that we recalculate. Now, we do add additional weighting for any academically rigorous courses. For any AP, IB, ACE, or dual enrollment courses, we'll add an extra point on your GPA. And for any pre-AP, pre-IB, pre-ACE, or honors courses, we'll add an additional half point on your GPA. So essentially what that looks like is, if you were to take AP Biology and you earned an A, we'll give you a 5.0 on a 4.0 scale for that class. And if you were to take Honors English and you earned an A, we'll give you a 4.5 on a 4.0 scale for that class. All right, then you're going to want to send in your official SAT or ACT test scores. We do super score for both, so we'll take the highest of each section for each sitting that you've done, and we'll combine those to form your super score. All right, we don't have a preference on which test that students sit for. We recommend that if you have a chance to, you sit for both, just to kind of see which one you may do better on, but you're welcome to submit one or the other. All right, and then last but not least is the essay. It is not required, but it is strongly recommended. You're more than welcome to follow our essay prompts in our application or the Common Apps prompts, or if you wanted to submit your own personal statement based on your own topic, you're more than welcome to do so as well. All right, so this is the freshman class profile for the students who were admitted to the fall of 2020. So for our freshmen or incoming freshman applicants that are kind of wanting to know a good idea of what's considered competitive, this provides a bit more information for you. So we had about 34,000 applications, and we admitted just over 15,000, and 3,900 enrolled for the fall term. Now, our class averages are essentially what you would see on the website. So I really want to draw your attention down here to the bottom of the screen to these mid-ranges, because they just tell you a little bit more of the story. So the mid-ranges tell you what the middle 50% of our admitted students earn to be admitted to UCF. So keep in mind that 25% of students scored above these numbers and 25% of students scored below these numbers. This is a good idea of what's considered competitive. Now, one thing to note for our freshman applicants, students who apply for the fall term are also automatically considered for the spring and the summer term as well. So if you aren't quite as competitive for the fall term, you may receive a summer or a spring offer. Now, because we are on a rolling admissions basis, we'll accept any new updated information at any point throughout the application cycle. So if you choose to retest later on, or your second semester senior or your first semester senior grades come in and your GPA is a little bit higher, you're more than welcome to submit that new updated information at any point throughout the application cycle, and we'll always take that into consideration. All right, so our Top 10 Nights program, essentially it guarantees admission for high school seniors who are in the top 10% of their senior class. Now it guarantees admission to UCF, but not for any one specific semester. That does still depend on how competitive your application is. And then it also guarantees on-campus housing for these students as long as they apply for housing by May 1st. Now there are a few qualifications for this program. First and foremost, you must currently attend a Florida high school. You must, of course, rank in the top 10% of your senior class, or if your high school does not rank, say, for example, you're homeschooled, will also take a UCF recalculated GPA based on your academic core of 3.9 or above. Right. Now, as far as minimum test scores, you must have at least an 1100 SAT or a 22 ACT, and then you must successfully complete 4 units of academic core math by the end of your senior year. Now, if you meet all of these qualifications and you have all of your application materials in, so your application, your test scores, your Spark, all of that information in by January 15th, you are guaranteed admission to UCF, and you'd be notified of this decision by March 1st. All right, and then now for our transfer students. So essentially the transfer requirements depend on the number of credit hours that you have anticipate having before transferring to UCF. Essentially the general rule is the more college credits you have, the less we look at your high school transcripts and test scores. One disclaimer that I do want to give with this is if you are currently in high school and you're completing dual enrollment courses, you may even be earning your AA degree while you're still in high school. For admissions purposes, you would still apply as a freshman. You would not apply as a transfer student unless you have already graduated high school and completed at least 12 credit hours after high school graduation. Now for our true transfers, essentially the number of credit, as I said before, the number of credit hours determine what your requirements are. So for our lower division transfer students, essentially if you have less than 30 semester hours of college credit, we'll still be looking at your high school transcripts and test scores in addition to your college transcripts. Okay. And then for our low division transfers, sophomores, essentially if you have more than 30 but less than 60 college credits, at that point we would just be looking at your college credentials. We'd be looking for a competitive college GPA, at least one English composition course, at least one math course at the college algebra level or above, and the foreign language requirement is satisfied, which essentially states that you need at least 2 years of a foreign language in high school or 2 semesters of a foreign language in college. Right, and then if you are an upper division transfer student, meaning you have 60 or more college credits, at that point we'd be looking for a competitive college GPA and to see that you have 2 English composition courses, 2 math courses at the college algebra level or above, and of course that foreign language requirement. If you are earning an AA degree from a Florida public, state, or community college, the AA degree will satisfy these requirements as far as the English, math, and foreign language requirements, so we'd be looking for that. And also students who receive an AA degree from any of our 6 partner institutions are guaranteed admission to UCF. And this is a part of our DIRECTCONNECT to UCF program. So any of our 6 partner institutions listed on the slide here, an AA degree will guarantee admission to UCF. All right, scholarship opportunities. So as I mentioned before, our freshman applicants are automatically considered for any merit-based scholarships from our office. There is no separate application required. You're automatically considered for these. Now, these awards are based on your academic credentials and your timing. So essentially, this scholarship funding does tend to run pretty quickly. So the sooner you apply, the sooner you can be considered for one of these merit-based scholarships. And then also your academic credentials. These are merit-based scholarships, so they do tend to run pretty competitive. Those mid-ranges that I showed you earlier, you're going to want to be on the upper end of those mid-ranges to be considered competitive for one of these scholarships. Now, our scholarships award totals range from about $6,000 to $42,000, and that is spread out over 4 years. And about 25% of our incoming freshmen do receive a merit-based scholarship. All right, and then for our transfer students, we do award a few scholarships as well. These do require a separate application that typically opens up in January, February, and it's due about mid-April. And to qualify for one of these scholarships, you must be earning an AA degree from a Florida State or community college, and you must be planning to enroll at UCF beginning in the fall semester. Now, again, these are merit scholarships as well, so they do tend to run pretty competitive. You want to have at least a 3.5 college GPA to be considered competitive for one of these. All right, and then here at the Rosen College, we do offer a number of scholarships available to students as well, both current and incoming students. We awarded over $225,000 in scholarships in just 2019 alone. So there are a lot of opportunities for internal scholarships here at the Rosen College, as well as any external industry scholarships, generally speaking, in the hospitality industry. You're more than welcome to take a look at our A2O system, which stands for Access to Opportunities. It's essentially a scholarship search engine here at UCF that works a lot like FastWeb, if any of you have heard of that. Essentially where you go in and you enter in all your information and it'll automatically populate scholarships that you qualify for. All of our Rosen scholarships will be in the A2O system, as well as any other scholarships around UCF or any external outside of UCF scholarships available as well. All right, and because we're a public institution, we do accept other forms of aid, including Florida Bright Futures and Florida Prepaid as well. All right, on these next two slides, I have two application timelines, one for freshmen, one for transfer students. And it really essentially kind of keeps you on track step by step to the application process and getting enrolled and getting started here at UCF. So first up for our freshmen, again, during the fall of your senior year, so between September to December, this is when you're going to want to begin the application process. Go ahead and take or retake the SAT and ACT. We advise that students begin their scholarship search as early as they can. The FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid, opens up on October 1st of each year. This is where you go ahead and apply for any federal financial aid. The UCF priority date is December 1st. So that's the priority date to go ahead and get your FAFSA completed and in by. All right, now once you go ahead and go through the application process and you are admitted to UCF, you do have some time to go ahead and notify us of your final decision. You have until May 1st to go ahead and submit that enrollment deposit. And your enrollment deposit essentially secures your admission here at UCF, and it lets us know that, yes, 100% you want to become a UCF Knight. Now, once you go ahead and submit that deposit, you'll be able to go ahead and register for and attend orientation, which is typically a 2-day event. This is where students actually go ahead and meet with their academic advisors, they register for classes, obtain their UCF ID, and really become acclimated to becoming a UCF Knight. All right, and then last but not least, between June and August, please don't forget to send us in your final high school transcripts, as well as any final test scores for AP, ACE, or IB exams, as well as any final dual enrollment transcripts. We want to give you credit for all the college credit that you attempted as well. All right, and then for our transfer students, really depending on your transfer status and how soon you know you want to transfer to UCF, say for example, if you're just graduating high school and you know right away you want to start at a local community college and then transfer to UCF after 2 years, you can kind of begin mapping out that process, making sure that you're staying on track, seeing if you can, kind of knock out any prerequisites for your intended major as you're working through your AA degree or as you're working through those 2-year degrees. Now, you want to actually begin the application process as a transfer student about 6 months prior to the term that you want to enroll for. So this is when you want to go ahead and submit your application fee. If you are earning your AA degree from a Florida State or community college, making sure that you're keeping on track for any dates or deadlines that they have. So making sure you're applying for graduation on time. Go ahead and make sure you're applying for those scholarships, those transfer scholarships that we have as well. When you fill out your FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, please make sure when you go to renew that information that you list UCF as an institution that you will be attending so that we can receive all that information as well. And then, of course, after you're offered admission to UCF, please make sure that you send us in your final official college transcripts, especially if you were in progress of earning your AA or articulated AS degree, making sure that we receive those final transcripts showing that you earned those degrees. Go ahead and explore your housing options, attend orientation, which is again where you go ahead and register for classes and become acclimated to becoming UCF Knight. And of course, last but not least, enroll at UCF. All right. All right, so I know we talked about a lot of information, but we're going to go ahead and kick it off and get started with the Q&A session at the moment. But I really wanted to just kind of put this slide up if you wanted to take a picture of this, so that if there are any questions that you think of after our event today that don't get answered, maybe, or if you think of them later on, you're more than welcome to reach out to us and go ahead and ask those questions so we can get them answered. All right, but I will go ahead and begin answering any questions at the moment. So please feel free to go ahead and ask in the chat if you have any questions, and we can go ahead and answer them one by one. All right. So our first question is, I'm having trouble with the SAT since the test keeps being canceled. Should I apply now or wait until I have my SAT score? So you should definitely begin the application process again as early as you can. Because we are on a rolling admissions basis, we'll always accept that new updated information at any point all the way up until the May 1st deadline. So you should definitely go ahead and apply. And once you have your SAT score, you can go ahead and have that information sent in. Where do we submit our updated semester grades if you have already applied? I'm sorry. Where do we submit our updated semester grades if you've already applied? So a bit closer to December, you'll receive information letting you know that your Spark is available. It's essentially going to be reopened. So that's where you would go ahead and list your updated semester grades, especially if you've already applied and you've already provided us with your Spark information. The Spark is going to be able to, it is going to be reopened so that you can go ahead and enter in your updated grades for the semester. Right. How long does it take for UCF to send my UCF information after submitting applications through the Common App? So it can take 5 to 10 business days once you submit your application for that information to be processed in our system. And then once that information is processed within that 5 to 10 business days, you should receive an email to the email address that you submitted on your application, letting you know the instructions to go ahead and log into your My UCF for the first time. Regarding residing on campus, is it better to apply to stay on the UCF campus or the Rosen campus for a better overall experience as a freshman? So really, it just kind of depends on your preferences. There are a few differences between the main campus housing as well as the Rosen College housing. So the Rosen College apartments are essentially an apartment style. So it's 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms in an apartment unit. So you'd have your own room and you'd share a bathroom with one other person. And there's also a full service kitchen and a living room in each unit as well. Whereas the main campus, they have a variety of different housing options. So you're more than welcome to take a look at the housing website. It's just housing.ucf.edu to kind of see more in detail the different floor plans that are available. So you can kind of coordinate and see which one kind of suits you better. I will mention that there is a shuttle that runs between the 2 campuses. So if you need to take a class on either campus or the other, there is a shuttle that runs between the 2. So that travel isn't as much as a hassle for you. All right. And then one thing I will mention that most of your general education courses, meaning the courses that you complete during the first 2 years of any degree program, will be over at the main campus. And then as you work your way into your major, all the courses required for your major will be at the Rosen College campus. So you can kind of plan out that way and see kind of which housing will be better for you. I am having trouble with my Spark form. How can I get some help? So I have 2 resources for you. So we actually, the UCF admissions actually just did a workshop kind of guiding through the Spark application process and filling out the Spark form. And that recorded video is available on our YouTube channel. It's UCF admissions. But if beyond that, if you aren't able to find the answer to your question, or if you're still having some trouble beyond getting the help with that video, you are more than welcome to email us at ucfsparkhelp@ucf.edu. And go ahead and let us know what your issue is, and we'll try and go ahead and troubleshoot it from there. When should we expect to hear back for for fall transfer admissions, I've applied 5+ weeks ago. So really, there isn't necessarily a set timeline for when you should hear back by, because we're on a rolling admissions basis. Typically, we say about 6 to 8 weeks from the time that your file is complete, but it really just depends on a number of different factors. If everything shows as received in your MyUCF portal, however, then your application has gone to the committee for review and it is in process of being reviewed. So I would just advise you to just kind of be patient and, keep an eye on your MyUCF portal for any updates from there. How long do SAT scores typically take to be received from College Board? I applied 2 months ago and got put on hold because my SAT was delayed due to COVID. I got my scores back on November 3rd. So it can take 2 to 3 weeks for any documents, whether it's electronic or physical, to be received and processed by our office. So if you got your scores on November 3rd, I would say give it about 2 to 3 weeks for them to show up in your MyUCF portal. And once we receive that information, it'll actually show up there to show you the test date and the score as well. How far are the main campus dorms from the Rosen College? So the Rosen College is about 30 minutes away from the main campus. And again, there is a shuttle that runs between the two campuses. So there is kind of a travel option if you need to get between the two. How can I take a tour or see the campus right now? So at the moment, we are not offering in-person campus tours just because with everything going on, but we do have a few virtual campus tour options available. There is a recorded video of our virtual campus tour, so kind of learning about different attractions on campus and different resources available to students, and that is available on our YouTube page, which is UCF Admissions on YouTube. So that recorded, and we have campus tours of both the main campus and the Rosen College campus as well. So you're more than welcome to browse through that information. And we have a number of different other videos on our YouTube channel as well, including a day in the life of a Rosen student. So you can kind of browse through that and get a little bit more information about the student experience. It doesn't offer AP classes because the education system in my country is different. Does that affect my chances of getting into UCF? So while taking AP classes is advantageous, it's not a requirement. So if AP classes aren't available in your country, it doesn't necessarily put you at a disadvantage because you don't have that option available to you. So it definitely won't disadvantage you in the application process. It's something that's available. If it's available to students, it can benefit students in as far as recalculating their GPA and kind of demonstrating that they've taken academically rigorous courses. But it doesn't necessarily disadvantage you if you haven't taken any, especially if they're not available in your country. I have waited 2 weeks for confirmation email. Should I be concerned about that? So I would say definitely yes. If it's been over 2 weeks since you submitted your application, go ahead and send us an email so that we can look into it. Be sure to include your first and last name and your date of birth as well, so we can kind of look into it and see if there might have been an issue with that. But yes, if it's been more than 2 weeks, then definitely reach out to us. Yes.
Dina, it appears that we don't have any more questions, so I think we'll go ahead and end this session and take a break. Our next session begins at 5:15 with student financial assistance. So again, if you want to grab some water, grab a quick drink, we'll begin again at 5:15. Thanks so much, Dina, for the admissions information. And again, you can email us at rosenadmission@ucf.edu if you have any additional questions.